Hello heroes and villains, and welcome to the Build Face channel, helping you build a better turn. My name is Danger Fort, and I'd like to thank you for watching yet again another video. So, it is Monday the 15th, and we are completely done with spoiler season as of Friday. So we are in week 8, and before we get into the recaps, we're going to do the news. The first bit of news, and this is a little bit dated, but you can start to pre-order the Versus System Legacy set online now. So, if you go to Cool Stuff Incorporated, you can pre-order it there for $21.49. You can also go to the Miniature Market, and they're selling it for 30 cents cheaper. Ooh, $22.19 over at Miniature Market. Or, which is the way I suggest you do it, is go to your local gaming store, if it's close enough to you, and pre-order it through them. Might be a little bit more expensive, but it's always a good idea to support your local gaming store. Geek City, what? Anyways, the next bit of news is the Build Face has expanded yet again. Yay! So now we have a Facebook page. This lovely Facebook page will help us reach out to you guys even more. Obviously, we have the podcast and video channel linked to it, as well as the website. So if Facebook is your way of gathering content, this is yet another way for you to do so. So we hope to see you there. The last bit of news that I'd like to do before we get into the spoilers is that this last weekend on Saturday, we had our finals for the Build Phase League play, and it went quite well. We had Team Build Phase join together. We went ahead and streamed it on Twitch, which you can go ahead and also subscribe to our Twitch channel. Also pretty brand new. Just search for the Build Phase, all one word. Unfortunately, I don't think we captured the Twitch channel feed, but that's okay, because I have it all video captured and it's on my to-do list, so look out for it later this week. Alternatively, you could also go to the Face webpage and witness the game. Although the quality is pretty crummy, but you can witness it through our Facebook Live, which they're all in the post section of our page. I think it's segmented into 2 or 3 videos. But if that works for you, then also go for it that way. Or, like I said, you can wait until I have a nice good video capture for you with all the audio presented on. So that is all the news for this week, and let's get right into this. So first up, on May 8th, the Daily Meta Game released the level 3 version of Green Goblin. This one's pretty exciting. I think as far as the level 3 characters go, this one in particular is just super cool, because he is another alternate win condition. And if you guys remember, other alternate win condition cards that we've seen in the past are Deadpool and, to a lesser effect, Gamora. So his level of condition for the alternative level 2 is the same as his first one, which is when an enemy character becomes stunned, Green Goblin gains an X. For his level 2, he only needs 3. He becomes a 6/6 with flight, so a little bit of a bump on the defense, just one more. Once he levels up into 3, and this is a good kicker, he becomes an 8/8. He gains an additional health, which, by the way, I'm really enjoying that all the level 3 characters also come with an additional health. That's a really cool way of fixing some of the older characters that need the help. So his level 3 ability is called Goblin's Gate, and it's during the main phase. Pay a red and choose a player with no cards in hand or no supporting characters on their side. KO their main character. That's so cool, guys. So first off, it's an or situation. At first I did not read that correctly, and I thought that you both needed to make the character discard all of their hands and have no supporting characters out on the field, which would be an incredibly hard thing to do. So I can understand that my assumptions at first on this card were bad, but since then I've come around, because there are plenty of new ways for us to do this, either of those conditions. So first up, we'll go with the no cards in hand. In particular, I think Psylocke and Hope are a great team for this. You just keep using Psylocke's ability along with Hope, who gets to copy it, which means that you're discarding 2 cards per turn, which could be really effective. But I don't think that that's the best about this. For Green Goblin, I think that it's going to be a niche deck, and he's going to want to stun all of the supporting characters on the other side. And the way to do that is Havoc. We finally have a need for Havoc. So if you guys don't remember, he pays 3 blue during the main phase, and he can stun all supporting characters on both sides that aren't named Havoc and Cyclops. So as long as you don't have a Cyclops on the other side, and hell, even if you do, Cyclops is pretty small and squishy, so you just send Green Goblin into it. But Havoc will basically clear an entire board. And if it's somebody that has more than 1 health, then the best thing that you can do for that is an Extinguish. So I think that Havoc and Extinguish is going to be a really powerful play if you can get Green Goblin leveled up to 3. Additionally, Magneto would really help with this, just because the character is stunned and you can utilize the Extinguish along with Magneto's ability. Some other cards that would work really well with this is Thanos. He's a nice 8-drop that allows you to put an additional wound onto that stunned character, so if they do have multiple health, then he can take them out as well. Not only that, but Magneto and Thanos are on the same team affiliation with Green Goblin, so you can also swing for a huge team attack. Very cool. Okay, next on the 9th of May, Popper Tim and Team Attack released Daredevil. So this is pretty interesting. We'll go with his level 2 ability real quickly. He gets a 5/9 stat block, and his level up condition is the same. When Daredevil gets attacked, if he's protecting a character, he gains an XP, and you only need 1 more of that to level him up to level 3. Let's just go over the level 3 card real quickly as well. So he becomes a 7/10, gains that extra health, and then he gains the ability Savior of Hell's Kitchen. Any turn combat, pay a yellow. No more attacks can be made this turn. So he kind of reminds me of Jessica Jones' level 1 ability, which is kind of the same way. If you're attacking Jessica Jones, then pay that, gosh, I can't remember what it is. It's a green or a blue, but you pay the cost and you can basically become a big wall. It works really well for Jessica Jones because she has tough and she has flight. But guess what? Daredevil has neither of those. And unfortunately, I don't see this help. He's kind of notorious for being pretty crummy. There's a lot of people in the community that wish he worked. Sorry, Ben Ruick, but I don't think this really helps you too much. Although that's a really cool ability. It's also one of those abilities, like I've stated in the past, if you're not working towards KOing the main character, your opponent's main character, then you're not really doing. So yes, it's good stall. It works well with the defenders. It helps you stay alive. And maybe if there's a combo that you're working on, then you can get them to work and you can keep those characters in order to make that work. So Daredevil obviously works really well with Moonstone so that you can take flight away and hopefully they're attack Daredevil instead of any of your other characters. With the new set, we haven't seen all of the defenders, we haven't seen all of the cards, so maybe there's one big card that's still out there ready to be revealed when you open the box that's going to make Daredevil amazing. Who knows, right guys? So we can cross our fingers. Okay, on Wednesday, the Build Phase crew, yours truly, released Spider-Man level 2 and 3, and I really like this card, guys. I'm also biased, I know that, but he becomes a 4/10 when he levels up to 2, and he needs 5 experience in order to level up again to 3. And there's one card in particular, which you might have already guessed it, that will really help this out. But I just love how he has a big butt and he can gain the attack value with his great power level 1 ability, which can be very useful. His level 3 card is something I'm super excited for. His amazing friends during the build phase pay a yellow and draw a card for each face-up supporting character side. That is awesome. Even if it's just 2 or 3 cards, I think that's really good value, but you have a lot of tools in your toolbox as an Avenger with Think Agains and Earth's Mightiest Heroes and just a huge stat block on Spider-Man. By the way, he's a 6/11 when he turns into level 3 and also of course gains that extra health. But there are ways that you can keep your supporting characters alive on your turn so that you can utilize this ability. And if you draw upwards to 4 or 5 cards, that's so many cards with really good answers. So I think this is a really cool card. I don't know if it is competitive worthy, but it's definitely a card that I will be building a deck out of for kitchen table. So just to go back to his level 2, his level up condition, he needs 5 of those. He needs 8 to begin with for his level 1. So that's 13 altogether, and that's a lot of cards. So the way I'm looking at this is you swarm heavy at the beginning with your Avengers characters. So Peggy Carter helps you out with that, and all of those 1-drops that are now free, 2-drops become 1s. So you can really get some good value out of Peggy Carter. And then turn 4, you can bring out Goblin Queen, and she is the best thing to level you up immediately to a level 3, because you spend the yellow with Goblin Queen and you get 4 Goblin Demons out, and that's your 5. You've got it right there. If you don't want to lose any of them, you just stop your play. It does suck that you don't get to attack with any of them, but that's okay, because I think the value that you get out of his amazing friends is totally worth it. Not only that, since she's femme fatale, it opens up the possibility of using such plot twists as femme fatality, which I think back in the day, the premier Spider-Man deck was using femme fatale characters to begin with. So this works really well for Spider. I've said this before, and I'll say it again, and I'll continue to repeat it. The more cards you have in your hand, the more answers that you have, and the more things that you can do. It helps your curve, it helps with tech, it just helps with power-ups. If you've got Floki out, then you will have more cards with which you can power up people with, so that you can draw even more cards, and it just keeps cascading. Okay, on Thursday the 11th, the Scoop UK released Groot, the Guardians of the Galaxy level 3 character. Groot becomes an 8/8. He needs 3 experience to level up. When you gain a resource, Groot gains an XP. So at the latest you would be able to do this is on turn 8 between his level 1 and level 2 experience conditions. That can be facilitated even quicker if you use characters like Mantis, who is on team, so that's great. But if you don't know what Mantis does, when she stuns, she immediately becomes part of your resource row, so you can ramp up that way. There's Nick Fury, who you can spend the yellow and you can draw a card from the top of your deck. If it's a location, turn it face up. If it's not, row it into your resource row. Although I'm not really a big fan of Nick Fury, just because he's got a big defense, but he's got a paltry attack, and it's hurt a significant amount playing something that small when you could have played something. But either way, once Groot does level up, he becomes a 10/10 with 7 health, which that's really good. And then he gets I love that it's the same title as everything else. I am Groot. So during the main phase, pay a blue and put +1/+1 counters on Groot equal to the number of resources on your side. This seems really powerful. This could really swing the game into your favor if it's late game. Additionally, if you can use this ability along with his first level 1 ability, which you pay the green during an any turn combat and you get +1/+1 this combat for each resource on your side, and so you can really get big. Along with the other Guardians of the Galaxy characters like Charlie 27 and Starhawk, I think that this could be pretty powerful. I'm wondering if it's going to come too late in the form of coming out a level 3 on 7 or 8, maybe sooner if you can do enough ramping. And then finally on Friday, Upper Deck blog released Wolverine. So again, same level up condition. Level 1 needs 3. When Wolverine makes a solo attack and stuns an enemy character, he gains an XP. So during his level 2, he gains 6 attack and 8 defense. He needs 2 more of those experience counters in order to level up to 3, which is a 9/8 with 6 health. That's one of the lower stat blocks that we've seen for level 3s. I think it's actually switched around with Kingpin, so I think Kingpin is 8/9. So it's pretty decent stats. He has an amazing ability for his level 3, Kill Frenzy. During the main phase, pay a green. Wolverine stuns an enemy defender while attacking solo this turn. Ready him. This is so cool, guys. This means that you can continually do this with Wolverine, and it's just like a barrage of attacks that can hopefully wipe out the entire rest of. He's gonna need help with either counter generations or just some cards that can help him get a little bit bigger, and also you don't want him to stun, so try to start out with the smallest characters and work your way up. Another card that really helps with him, if you try to attack somebody, let's say you're attacking an Avengers character, it's a small one, we'll say Falcon, just for the sake of it. But let's say you attack into Falcon, they use Think Again. Obviously Wolverine would stop right there and he wouldn't be able to ready again because he didn't stun the character. Well, that's where your X factors come. So you use one of those X factors, you ready him, you try it again, and hopefully this time they don't have any more Think Agains, and you can just start the train. That's a really cool way to combo it. I think this could see some pretty competitive play, but it's still up in the air as we haven't seen the cards yet. But it's so close, guys. It's the 15th. We've got 9 days. That's really close. Also released on the Upper Deck blog is an alternate art card of the level 3 Wolverine, and this art looks a lot cooler. I also like that it gives you options as to what you can choose to play with, so I don't see why you wouldn't want to play with this. It only comes in the first edition of the Legacy expansion, so make sure you pre-order those so that you can get this limited card, because I think it's a really neat addition to the expansion. Okay, so that was your spoilers for the final week 8 of spoiler season. I hope you enjoyed all of this. I'd like to thank Mark at Upper Deck and Danny and Ben for making the cards and allowing us this opportunity to bring all of these wonderful cards to you guys. I hope you've enjoyed this series. Obviously stay tuned as I have other things in mind for the channel. Things might slow down a little bit just because we're not doing the spoilers on a weekly basis anymore, but we will have something very shortly for you. Look out for that final match between Ponder Guy and Weber. That should be coming later this week. I've got some other great ideas. Check out the website for new articles on everything from Versus to Hearthstone to Star Wars Destiny, and even some board game reviews that we have in the works, as well as a new podcast, which I will just leave at that to whet your appetite. So thanks again for watching. My name is Danger Ford. Go win some games.